have you ever sit down and really meditate on some things that you learned as a child and you realize it's really foolishness, you know, say it's foolishness them a teach you though. Even when we were in college, I remember when we were in college, at some point in time, they told us to unlearn some things we learned in high school and primary school because it was really rubbish, you understand? It was almost a total opposite. I'm like, so how them a teach it in school when it is rubbish? And it brings me to life now when I'm looking on life, and I'm looking on a lot of things that we learn as culture, a lot of things we learn that is the norm, which is really foolishness. Even our parents sometimes teach us foolishness because that is what they know, that is a culture. So we are told, for example, to go to school, make sure you get a good education so you can come out and get a good job. And a lot of us went to school, we did well in school, we came out and got some good jobs, and we're still not fulfilled. We still have the frustration, ends are still not meeting sometimes. So I'm like, but all of this is pointless. It better me did probably start a farm and plant some callaloo and start buy one goat and one sheep, you understand? Because you're in the job sometimes and you're frustrated. And it brings us to the point where you can start distinguish between some entrepreneurs versus those who works in the office. So there are times that people tell us to go on so you can get a good job or get a good education. When you're really to be an entrepreneur, so it's like you are bonded in this life because your mother probably wanted you to be a doctor or your mother wanted you to be a lawyer. When you were called to be an entrepreneur or to be a motivational speaker, and that is how your talent would have worked for you instead of being bonded into something you don't like. And the verse that stood out for me too is the verse found in Deuteronomy 28 verse 13, where God called us to be above only and not beneath, to be leaders in the society and not followers, to be lenders and not borrowers, to be the head at all times and not the tail. And what I'm finding is this: almost everything what the Bible tells you if we do, we're not doing it. And then we say, wait, God, where is God? God tell us to dominate the earth. What are we doing? We're making things monitor us instead. God said we are to be the leaders of the society, which means is we suppose as Christians who have morals and who have standards are supposed to run in the economy so we can make conscious decision which would be for the betterment per se of the people of the country. We are supposed to be owning the banks. If we're gonna be lenders, if you have to lend, don't you have to have money or something to lend? You can't be a lender and have nothing to lend. And God is calling us today to start gathering things so you can have something to lend, because you're gonna have those times when people will be turning to you for assistance. And I mean, if you say you're a Christian and you go to church every day and you never have, something must be wrong with that, because the Bible says so. It could be a sense of your mindset, how you think. Do you actually believe what the Bible says? If the Bible says you are to achieve this and you are to get that, and God provide a prosperous future for you and hope, and He is gonna pour out some exceeding abundance, do you really believe that? Or you just say the scripture as I was listening to somebody? Do you just talk scriptology? Don't you apply it to your life and demonstrate it through your lifestyle so that others can see the goodness of God instead of saying it all the time and yet still you don't have nothing to give, never yet? Something is wrong with that. And also in terms of lending. So lending, when I saw this about lending, it means that you need to know your accounting. You need to know what is happening if you are to be a lender, because you don't want to lend out everything and not have. So this is also saying that you need to know some accounting if you are going to be a lender. Right, so God is calling us and charging us today to be leaders, to be lenders, to be above only, to be the head, and stop follow. Sometimes we follow some people and they're not going anywhere. You ever stop sometime and I say, why am I even following this person? Because I mean, what they must say don't make no sense. Where are they heading? Sometimes they're heading in a ditch and you're just following them and you're not even trying to educate yourself. I have a very powerful couple friend, Mindful. They have a company, international company called Mind Food. So they do their conferences and their events regularly, and they pour a lot of mind information that you can think, ways to elevate yourself, ways to empower yourself. So you can try look out for instances like those where you can try to educate yourself if you are to be a leader. Buy books. There are a lot of inspirational books. There are a lot of books out there that helps us to become leaders. But sometimes we don't believe that we need to invest in ourselves, and that is a challenge, you understand? Because you pour out so much energy doing stuff and then you're not investing back in yourself, so it's like all of that gone to waste. So I'm charging us today to choose to be above only. We're gonna choose today to be leaders in the society. We're gonna choose today to be lenders. We're gonna choose today to be the head. Always be above the rest, and you can't fit in culture and do the norm and expect to be above only. So that is the charge for today.